Hey, Channel Insiders. Welcome back to Channel Insider Partner POV. I'm your host, Katie Bavoso, and today we're taking a closer look at a part of the channel business that many partners overlook until late in the sales cycle: financing and leasing. I'm joined by Simon Harrsen, Executive Vice President for North America at CHG-MERIDIAN, to talk about how leasing, device lifecycle management, and the growing shift toward device-as-a-service models can open new opportunities for partners. We explore how tighter IT budgets, rapid technology refresh cycles, and rising data security concerns are changing the way enterprises acquire and manage devices, and how partners can use financing and lifecycle services to win bigger deals, extend customer relationships, and stay competitive in 2026. Welcome, Simon. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Katie. You're very much looking forward to the conversation here and the discussion together. So yeah, thanks again for having me.
As am I. Thank you so much for your time. And I'd like to start out by putting you in the hot seat by just talking to us about CHG-MERIDIAN and a little bit about your company. Of course, you do quite a bit. From a high level for our audience, I'd like for you to explain exactly who you are, what you do, because you're not my typical guest, where I usually have MSPs, resellers, maybe integrators on the show, but you offer opportunities to help channel partners grow. So how do you explain what CHG-MERIDIAN is to someone who has never heard of you before?
Yeah, so CHG-MERIDIAN is the largest global independent IT lessor. So we actually work with a lot of the channel partners for their leasing needs or for the leasing needs of their clients. We work with multinational corporations around the globe. We're a European headquartered company with an IT portfolio of over $10 billion US. A lot of the Fortune 500 companies, Fortune 1000 companies are using IT end user devices that are being leased through us. And a lot of these devices are coming from channel partners. They're being provided by channel partners. There are lifecycle management services included from those channel partners into our leases. That's also something that we've been implementing over the last 15 years, I would say that a lot of our clients, they were not just looking for a financing and leasing solution, they were looking for a more holistic lifecycle management solution. So we've incorporated a lot of these lifecycle management services into our leasing to provide a more holistic solutions for our clients. So that's what we do. There's some other business divisions for industrial assets and healthcare assets, but roughly 80% of our global portfolio are IT devices that we are providing for our clients.
We spoke a little bit about this before we came on. You're in Los Angeles, but the company is also based in Europe. Talk to me a little bit about that global footprint. Where can we find CHG-MERIDIAN team members?
Oh, absolutely. And the global footprint is very important to us. And, we've expanded into new markets consistently over the last couple of years. So we're now in 32 different countries. The origin of the company is out of Germany, out of Europe. That's where our headquarters is located at. But then over the last decades, we've expanded into all major markets. I mean, a lot of the clients that we work with, they are operating in different markets. So we're supporting them with a very standardized model, which they appreciate, into all their international markets. I started out working for the business in 2014 out of Germany, then moved to Mexico, spent some time with our Mexico business, roughly 5 years, not just some time, actually, a lot of time with our Mexico business. And then roughly 4 or 5 years ago, I relocated from our Mexico business to Los Angeles. So I'm now here in Los Angeles. That's where our US headquarters is at. And that's where we attend all our clients here in the US out of our office. There's a lot of remote colleagues also on the East Coast and the Midwest that we work with globally.
Fantastic. So I appreciate you taking this during my lunchtime, your breakfast. So thank you for making time for this.
That's right.
So I'd like to talk more about the business opportunities that CHG-MERIDIAN presents channel providers. Many partners still think of financing as something customers bring up maybe late in a sales cycle. From your perspective at CHG-MERIDIAN, how should channel partners rethink about leasing as a tactical financing tool or as a strategic way to open deals they otherwise might not win?
Yeah, no, I think it's incredibly important. And we work very well with a lot of the channel partners. And they're very important to us because we don't provide any equipment. We don't have people on the ground that can provide those lifecycle management services. So we we need the lifecycle management services of those channel partners, and we also need the equipment from those channel partners to work together to create a successful model. And then on the client side is, I think there's so many benefits on putting IT equipment on a consistent lifecycle management model. First of all, technology gets obsolete quickly. The operational challenges of moving equipment in and out. So that's something that we support with. The data erasure aspect of it is very, very important. There's so much sensitive data on all these IT devices that are out there. So we take the equipment back and do a certified data wiping of the equipment as well. So, I think it can really help channel partners to put these devices on a consistent refresh cycle, which also helps channel partners, right? They're also in the business of selling equipment. So there are a lot of advantages, I think, for channel partners or to incorporate those leasing services into their solutions.
Fantastic answer to kind of explain everything that you do. And I'm looking forward to talking a bit more about the life cycle and the data leakage prevention that you offer as well. I should make sure that I specify what kinds of channel partners are we talking about here? What are the ones that you typically work with? And do size and vertical specialty play a role?
There'll be any channel partner, right? Some of those or most of the channel partners, I would say, are being chosen by the end user client, right? So they might have a channel partner they've been working with, so we're incorporating that channel partner in some of our solutions. In some cases, our clients are asking us for advice on how to build the solutions, and we are we're approaching different channel partners to build the solution. So we're working with some of the largest channel partners, but then we're also working with some mid-sized channel partners. We're a little bit more in the corporate space, I would say. So mid-size, large cap accounts. So that's kind of like our market. And then industries, all kinds of industries. Any industry that has IT end user devices, right? But who doesn't have IT end user devices? I think especially after the pandemic, every employee has a laptop now. Every employee has a corporate IT end user device, and that's precisely what we can provide.
Excellent. Well, we got to talk about the B word, budget. It's always important every year, but many organizations, they're constantly under tighter IT budgets, especially in 2026. Are you seeing a shift in how enterprise customers evaluate CapEx versus OpEx for infrastructure and devices? And what does that shift mean for partners trying to close deals this year?
Absolutely. I mean, there's always a squeeze on budget. I think now there's so many extraordinary investments within the AI space as well, and budgets are getting squeezed. They've always been squeezed, but it seems like they're being squeezed even more. And we can support with that. This is we actively work with OEMs, we work with channel partners, we work with our clients. They do have a certain budget, and through a lifecycle management model, we might be able to get to the budget number, because what we do within our model, we assign quite a significant residual value to the devices through our refurbishment, so that we do have refurbishment facilities all over the globe where we take all these IT devices back, refurbish them, and place them in the aftermarkets. So there's a real value being generated at the end of lease, and that value can be passed on in terms of savings to our clients, which can be up to 25%. So that saving of 25% really significantly helps to create the budget needs that some of those clients are having. It's a great solution if budget is a squeeze.
So let's talk more about those lifecycle services. As I've heard you and other team members talk about, they can allow smaller and mid-market partners to deliver capabilities they normally couldn't offer on their own. What does that look like in practice, and how can partners position those services to compete for larger opportunities?
Right. So, we're talking about deployment services. We're talking about the logistics services. We're talking about getting IT end user devices into employees' hands. And then at the end of lease, also the rollback of devices and the data erasure once again, the refurbishment services. So all these IT lifecycle management services, asset management. We also have our own asset management software that we help our clients with managed devices, because some of these corporate clients, they have thousands of devices. They're in different locations. They're even in different countries, they're in different cost centers, they're running under different budget buckets. So there are all these complexities that we try to help with, that then ultimately integrate all those lifecycle management services from channel partners.
Going from there, you actually mentioned, Simon, about all of these devices spanning across different borders and even different countries and continents. So Talk to me a little bit about how difficult it would be for a channel partner to try to tackle that sort of multi-country device management on their own compared to working with CHG-MERIDIAN. Have you seen that before where you've seen one try to do it until they come over to you? Or do you just know that it would be a difficult experience no matter what?
I would say some are better than others,
Mm.
like in an industry, and some have more international capabilities than others. But what we often see though is there are certain channel partners that we work with. They have a limited scope on delivering those services, but they're still very interested, very invested in the opportunities with the end user client. So we can help them set up the solutions for certain countries where they don't have coverage because we're quite good within our global coverage based on the global setup that we have created over the last couple of decades. So there might be a channel partner that we're engaging with in the US and some of the major, let's say, North American markets, Mexico or Canada, but they might not have any Asian capacity or they might not have any capability within Europe. So we can help them with that setup. So they can still keep their client happy. They can build a solution together with CHG-MERIDIAN that works for the client because the client might look for a truly global solution for some of the markets that are a little bit more difficult to attend for some channel partners.
Let's talk more about that device refresh timeline, because I'm sure, as
Mhm.
you know, at your own company and at mine too, most organizations, we're refreshing devices every 3 to 5 years at least. So, how can partners use leasing and lifecycle management to turn what used to be a one time hardware sale into a longer term customer relationship?
I was reading a statistic the other day, which was quite interesting. There is more than 20 billion unused IT devices out there, right? So e-waste is a huge issue. It's also for corporates. A lot of employees have old IT devices in their drawers sitting around. They're working on old IT devices, which also has cybersecurity risk, which has includes downtime. The employee productivity experience is just not where it should be. So by putting those IT assets on a very consistent lifecycle management model, I think it really helps to get to a consistent refresh model. And then it also creates opportunity for the channel partner to place equipment when the time is right and not place equipment when maybe the equipment is already 6-7 years old and it should have been replaced a long time ago. So by putting equipment on a consistent model, and then I think our asset management also plays a big role there. We're trying to create full visibility on the usage of those assets. I mean, clients can go in there and look at any time when those assets are due for refresh. And just by creating that visibility, there's awareness that's being created on the client side. So that they're aware that they're using a device that should have been exchanged after 3 years, and now the device is already 3.5 years old, which then they can proactively work with us, can work with the channel partners in order to refresh the device. So, overall, I think there are a lot of benefits on the client side and then also on the channel side where, the channel has an opportunity to place equipment at the right time.
Very good point. So, going back to that data leakage conversation and the risk around that, obviously, we know it's a big risk when devices are retired and you just sort of, as you said, leave them laying around. As you just stated, that
Yeah.
amazing fact, the billions of devices that are still probably in our desk drawers right now, somewhere in our house. But when we get to the corporate level, that can't be. So, from a security standpoint, how big of a blind spot is device disposal for enterprises? And what role can CHG-MERIDIAN and the partners play in closing that gap?
First of all the devices we just talked about, right? They're laying around. They might have sensitive data on them,
Mhm.
and they're not being wiped. There's no real data erasure process that's being taken care of. That's one thing. And then the other thing is, so we use certified data erasure. We work with Blanco software, and there's a couple of other softwares that we use in order to fully comply with all requirements in terms of having a certified data erasure. So there's a very, very proven process that we've been using globally with our clients, also on a global scale. So there might be clients that they have local data erasure in place with certain subsidiaries or in certain countries. And so just by implementing a global standard that uses the same data erasure process in every country also helps a lot. So it just gives clients certainty on what they need to do. I think the cybersecurity risk and data leakage is as high of a risk as it has ever been before. So I think it's a very important topic for everybody out there.
Speaking more broadly about the opportunities in 2026, where do you see partners, whether they be major resellers or enterprise focused partners, most often missing opportunities when it comes to financing and lifecycle services? Where is there a space where you go, this should be so much more taken advantage of, but they're often missed in the partner world?
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a lot of excitement right now within all the AI infrastructure space, right? It was like we're even talking to some of the OEMs and about the actual chips and those data centers because there's so much investment. So every channel partner that's being part of that process or attends that market, I think has an opportunity to look at some of the financing model, especially because it seems like the speed those chips are being reinvented every couple of years is extremely high. So a flexible leasing model, a financing model makes a lot of sense because that's what clients are looking for. They're trying to refresh the technology quickly, so it helps them. But then also for I think any other IT devices, I think there are plenty of opportunities out there. Our biggest competitor is the purchase, right? That's how we look at it, right? So if clients just purchase, and a lot of clients are just purchasing, then that's I don't think that's very beneficial neither for the partner, not for the client. So I think around all IT end user devices, IT hardware devices, there's plenty of opportunity to have a flexible financing model wrapped around the procurement of the device.
Well, do you actually see that becoming more of a common practice? The device as a service becoming more common, the leasing becoming more common. Do you see it going in that direction with a pivotal turning point perhaps this year? And of course, if we are seeing that becoming more of a habit, how will that affect the role of the channel?
Well, the channel always has its justification, right? Because again, they have they provide the devices, they provide the consulting, they provide the lifecycle management services. So those partners are essentially important for us for what we do. Overall, that's not going away. On the other side, I do think we live in times of subscription models. Maybe one day none of us is gonna own a car anymore. We just subscribe to all these ride sharing services, right? So it seems like ownership is becoming less and less important in the age of subscription. No one is going out there anymore and buying a DVD. We're all on Netflix, right? It's all on demand. It's all subscription based. And so the concept of ownership is being resought. And I think that's also a trend that we're seeing within the IT space. Clients are looking for devices as a service model. There's high demand for those devices as a service model. So it's an opportunity, I think, for those channel partners. There's opportunities to upsell some of their services. But on the other side, they're very, very much necessary for everything that we do and everything I think that the market overall needs.
Does any sort of success story come to mind for you when you consider the conversation we're having around channel partners coming to you for help with that leasing, those services, and to be able to find new opportunities? Is there anything that you can think of that you can talk to me? Whether or not you can name the partner or even the customer involved is one thing, but does something come to mind for you where you say, this exemplifies what we do at CHG Meridian?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, first of all, we greatly work with a lot of partners, and we also have incentive programs in place for those channel partners. So there's channel partners that are interested in the model based on what they've heard today. They're happy to reach out to us because again, we do have incentive programs in place as well there. But if I think about, there was one very, very large opportunity that we worked on last year for a large global grocery chain. I think they had an investment of roughly $50 million in IT end user devices, and the opportunity was brought to us by one of the channel partners. The channel partners were struggling with pricing. They were being squeezed on pricing, and through our model, we were able to get to the numbers that the client was looking to get to. I think channel partners also often have channel challenges around the margins, and they're getting squeezed on their margins. And sometimes by building a clever financial solution, a clever leasing solution, they are able to still operate at reasonable margins, right? Because we all need reasonable margins, and have the client commit to the investment. So that specific project was a great success story where it was the channel partner that approached us with their challenges. We worked out a solution together, and then ultimately we had a solution that made the client happy, and everybody had business along the process.
Clients happy, money's being made. Success story right there.
Exactly.
So looking ahead, Simon, if you had to give one piece of advice to the channel partners who are watching this or listening to this video podcast as they head into 2026, where do you think the biggest untapped opportunity is for them when it comes to device lifecycle strategy and financing? This relates a little bit more to the question that I saw of the opportunities that they're missing, but considering some of the trends that you just spoke about this year, where do you think the biggest untapped 2026 opportunity is for them?
You mentioned already, there's a trend out there regarding device as a service. Clients are looking for more holistic lifecycle management solutions. We like them to partner up with us, but just in general, I think there's a lot of opportunity out there to building those lifecycle management solutions, to build those device as a service solutions, to build those subscriptions models. Clients are looking for additional flexibility, and there's a lot of uncertainty on where's the economy going to go? How quickly is the technology going to change? How is AI also impacting some of the technology that's being deployed today that might be obsolete in 2-3 years? So clients are looking for flexibility. They're looking for new models. So I think just in general, having that openness, having the flexibility, having the creativity to entertain that specific market space can highly benefit any channel partner in 2026.
I appreciate you bringing up the economy. It's fairly volatile here in the US at the moment and definitely affecting around the world. So, why would it be a great idea right now to consider services from CHG-MERIDIAN with the economy in mind? You talk about flexibility. Can you dig into that a little bit more from an economic standpoint right now?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think first of all is also preserving liquidity, right? And that's where always our model really helps. And instead of paying upfront cash for the technology for our clients, they're spreading their expenses over the actual lease term. And so they're preserving liquidity for any unforeseen challenges. So I think that helps any business, especially in times of uncertainty. And then it's flexibility. It's just by committing CapEx budget to a certain investment, you're procuring the device, so you're committing the CapEx spending versus with our model, the OpEx spend is being required, and that OpEx spend just gives you additional flexibility, and then you can scale up and down. When the lease is due after a couple of years, you might return equipment, you might keep some equipment a little bit longer, you might not refresh some of the equipment. Just due to the fact where your business is at that point of time. So just that additional flexibility can be very helpful in times like this.
Very well put. Well, Simon, I know that those who are listening and watching probably have a million more questions, as do I, but we only have so much time. So where can interested viewers and listeners go to learn more about CHG-MERIDIAN, and who do you encourage the most to reach out to you?
Yeah, they can reach out to me directly on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn, Simon Harrsen, CHG-MERIDIAN, our website, chgmeridian.com. They can shoot us a message, and we're always happy to have a conversation, and hopefully it can lead to something.
Amazing. Well, Simon, thank you so much for your time today. It's been a pleasure getting to talk to you and learn about CHG-MERIDIAN. Good luck in 2026, and I look forward to the next time we have you back on.
Thank you. Thank you, Katie. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks so much to Simon for joining me today, and thank you, as always, for watching or listening. You can check out every episode of Channel Insider Partner POV on channelinsider.com, or come watch us on YouTube at youtube.com/channelinsider_news and trends. You can also listen to us as a podcast wherever you get your podcasts from. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow wherever possible so you never miss an episode. Come connect with Channel Insider or me, Katie Bavoso, on LinkedIn and X. Once again, I'm your host, Katie Bavoso, and I'll see you next time.